and welcome to this very special broadcast of the Nerdflix podcast. I hope you got your party hats and noisemakers because I have a big announcement. Nerdflix #1 not only has hit 100 views, it has hit 102 views! Okay, well, welcome to the 22nd broadcast of the Nerdflix podcast. Today's topic is Space Jam. We'll talk about the original movie, and we'll talk a little bit about the upcoming sequel. So let's get started. Hey, it's time for Nerdflix!
Welcome to the Nerdflix podcast.
In my opinion, I really like Space Jam. I think that it is an underrated film and not too many people know about it now. But I do think it is a very good movie. Space Jam is, of course, about the Looney Tunes who have ran into some trouble with some aliens, monsters, I'm not quite sure what they are, but some other cartoon characters, and now they need to have a basketball game. And they need help because they're not very good at playing basketball. So, who do you ask for help when you can't play basketball? Well, of course, Michael Jordan, because it's 1996 and he is a huge basketball star. So the Looney Tunes go to Michael Jordan for help in playing this basketball game against the other basketball team known as the Monstars. The entire idea for Space Jam started as an idea for a commercial where Michael Jordan would face off against Bugs Bunny in a basketball game. And then from there, they adapted it into the movie Space Jam. This movie was shot using a lot of green screen. And since all of the cartoon characters were animated in, they needed a reference point for Michael Jordan to get the eye level correctly and be able to interact with the cartoon characters. So they had a bunch of stand-ins in green suits come in and act and interact how the cartoon characters, how the Looney Tunes would have in the movie, so that Jordan could get the right feel of where they would be and he could interact with them so it would look good when they animated in the cartoon characters. And it was actually said to be the largest visual effects film of its time. Usually in a Looney Tunes cartoon, we only ever really see the front of a character or the back of a character. It's very simple 2D animation, and we never really get a 3D representation of them, because that's how animating was then. But now, with Space Jam, they needed to animate these characters in a whole new way. They had shots where we'd see the bottoms of their feet, the top of their head, them the side, them coming down the court. So they really needed to animate these characters in a whole new way, because it wasn't 2D anymore, and they needed 3D models of all these characters from every angle. Animating this movie, like I just said, was no easy task, which means it required a lot of animators. It had 200 animators working specifically for the film alone, plus additional animators who worked for Looney Tunes and who worked for Warner Brothers. And altogether, they had a total of 40,000 completed drawings to go along with the animation of the film. So it was a challenge to animate this. In the movie, the opposing basketball team, the Monstars, no, I'm not saying monsters incorrectly, it's just supposed to be a pun, so it sounds like All-Stars, Monstars, because they're also monsters. Anyways, in the film, they are always referred to collectively as the team Monstars, and never individual names. But to animate, they needed to be able to refer to them, so they do actually all have names. The orange one is named Pound, the green one is Bang, the magenta one is Not, the purple one is Butt Kiss, and the blue one is Blanco. So they do all have names, they're just never said in the film. Not only was Michael Jordan acting in this movie, he was also actively playing basketball during the time of filming. So when he had spare time, he did not take any time off. He was either filming, training, or playing basketball. So they actually built him a mini gym right there on set so that he could work out when they weren't filming. And now it is time for another segment of product review. I don't really own much or really anything for Space Jam. I mean, I own a Space Jam poster, and I own Space Jam on DVD, and that's about it. But there is a decent amount of stuff out there. We'll start by going to the Looney Tunes official shop. The only Space Jam merchandise I was able to find was a bunch of stuff for the upcoming film Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, but that's alright. It's still a bunch of merchandise. From what I found, though, it is mostly just t-shirts and hoodies and basically just apparel. But there is a decent amount here. Let's see if they have any, maybe any figures, any Funkos. No, they only seem to have apparel here, but still a decent amount to choose from. But there is a line of Funko products for Space Jam. There is a line of stuff for the original movie, which is a little bit older and worth a lot more. And then there are stuff just released for the new movie. And so now I'm going into the Funko app, and it will tell you about how much they're worth collecting-wise. But that's not always how much they'd actually sell for at stores. It's just as much as they're actually worth, like, if you collect. But they have a t-shirt game. The original Space Jam Bugs Bunny is worth about $17. For the new one, they have various LeBron James worth around $13, $14. But the original Blue Monster, which we've learned earlier in the podcast, his name is Blanco. But the original pop for him is worth $70, so that one is an older one. The original Marvin the Martian is worth $75. But there is a bunch of ones just released for the new upcoming movie, and those ones are worth around regular Funko price. The original boss for the Monstars is worth about $36, the original one. Tasmanian Devil, the original one, is only worth $12, so that one might be easy to find. You can get a 2-pack from the new movie with Bugs and LeBron dressed as Batman and Robin. That one's worth about $41. So some of these newer ones have gone up in price. They have a couple of pop sodas for the new movie, worth around regular price. They have one that's worth $14. It's from the new movie. It's Sylvester and Tweety. It comes with both of them, so that's pretty nice. But the Walmart exclusive Tasmanian Devil from the new movie has gone up to $35. So there is actually tons available Funko-wise and apparel-wise for this movie. So there is no lack of merchandise. When this movie came out, it had mixed critic opinions. Some people were saying it was very good, very amusing, very funny, but some were saying it wasn't very good. And I can see that because it's a bit of a promotion trying to bring the Looney Tunes characters back to life, but I still found it was a very good film, but the opinions were very mixed. One of the biggest names in the original Looney Tunes animation, probably the most known, is Chuck Jones. He directed a lot of Looney Tunes episodes, he animated, and he created a lot of Looney Tunes characters. But he thought Space Jam was terrible. He did not like Space Jam at all. He did not like the way Bugs sought help from every other Looney Tunes character. He did not like the way Porky Pig acted, saying lines like,
I wet myself.
So overall, Chuck Jones did not like Space Jam. When this movie was released, it became the highest grossing basketball-related film of all time, making $90 million in theaters. Like I just went over, there is a lot of merchandise for this movie, but there was a lot of stuff released for it when it first came out. Typical things like apparel and action figures, but some other stuff like Space Jam towels, a somewhat strange-looking ceramic mug that looked like Michael Jordan's head, and even Happy Meal toys. They didn't do much, but again, what do you expect from a Happy Meal toy? But there was a lot of merchandise released with this film. This movie is getting a sequel now, but it almost had a sequel in 1997. It started off with one of the people in the production company lying about Michael Jordan being on board for the movie. He was not, but when he said he was, they started up production on a sequel. But when they found out Michael Jordan was not on board for the movie, it quickly got shut down. But now Space Jam is getting a sequel. It's coming out July 16th in theaters and on HBO Max. It is called Space Jam 2: A New Legacy, and here is what I know so far. So there's been numerous trailers, tons of trailers. I've pretty much watched them all, and it does look pretty decent. I know it's featuring LeBron James, and it might, but I'm not sure, have a small cameo by Michael Jordan. It does seem to be a sequel and not a remake. Hopefully it is not a remake. But it does seem that LeBron James will be teaming up with the Looney Tunes for another game of basketball. And this time it seems that the Looney Tunes, basically the Looney Tunes are at stake here because in the trailer someone states that the Looney Tunes will be deleted if LeBron and the Looney Tunes lose. And it does involve LeBron James' son and a lot of other Warner Brothers owned characters such as Scooby-Doo and people like that. But if you'd like to see the trailer, it is, of course, on YouTube and on the internet, so you can look that up. But here is a segment on what me and Nathan think about the new Space Jam movie. Now we have Nathan back on the show, but this time he is here in person.
Yep, that is true. I am right here.
Okay, and today, of course, we'll be talking about Space Jam. Nathan, you're a fan?
Yes, very.
So, you know about the new movie, right?
Yep.
Coming out, Space Jam: A New Legacy, July 16th in theaters and on HBO Max. And no, this is not a paid promotion. What are your thoughts on the upcoming movie?
It looks good. I hope it's as good as the first one, but I don't know with the new cast change.
So, speaking of cast change, what do you think about LeBron James being in the movie?
I wish they had Michael back, but, you know, probably, I hope he's good. Good actor.
So now this is called Space Jam 2, so I guess they're implying that it's a sequel, but it does seem like a little bit of a remake.
Yeah, well, we don't know, obviously, but if it is a lot like the first, then I don't know if it's really a sequel. I don't know.
It depends if the movie directly references to the events of the first film, because from what we see in the trailers, it looks very, very similar to the first movie.
Yeah. If they do mention the first one, then I don't know, like, if there's going to be some deeper stuff with that.
Overall, it does look like a decent movie, but let's just hope, I hope it's not a remake.
Yeah, I hope it's a sequel, and maybe we'll get a cameo.
Yeah, now with the, what we've seen from the trailers, we've seen it has a lot of, Easter eggs. We see people like the Iron Giant and other, Warner Brothers, though the Iron Giant is actually Universal, fun facts, but Warner Brothers characters like Hanna-Barbera and Scooby-Doo. So, that would be fun to have Easter eggs in the film.
Yeah, I feel like the first movie was just about, like, Toontown or whatever, and it looked like in the new one, it was like, there's one person who controlled all of the animation, like, movies and shows, so maybe we might get, like, a full team up to take down the bad guys.
In one trailer, they did have a Bugs as Batman and LeBron James as Robin, so...
Yeah.
But, let's hope it's not too similar to Ready Player One. The Easter eggs are cool, but you don't want a direct rip-off, because Ready Player One is Universal. And this is a Warner Brothers, which again doesn't make sense with the Iron Giant.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they got rights or something.
But anyways, these are our thoughts on the upcoming film and on Space Jam, so thanks for being on, Nathan.
No problem.
And now it is time for another segment of Forgotten Facts. This one comes to us from Nerdflix number 3, Bill and Ted. When making the second movie, Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, the studio executives fought the directors and writers to not have Bill and Ted die. But they fought back and in the end won and kept the idea of the movie with Bill and Ted dying. Okay, that is it for another episode of the Nerdflix podcast. Thanks so much to everyone who helped get Nerdflix number 1 up to 102 views. So thanks so much to my viewers, and keep watching those other ones as well. Let's get those up there, but thanks for getting Nerdflix number 1 to over 100 views. There is no podcast next week, so hold on till the week after. And until then, I will see you next time on Nerdflix.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
I wet myself.